A big crowd.
Keep it factual.
Gotcha.
What do you see? That kind of stuff.
Okay, good.
Gotcha. Okay, guys, we are live. It's a little early. A new situation in Madison off of Willy Street. A reported officer-involved shooting. We understand the crowds are gathering too, so we've got probably 4 minutes out before the newscast. Valina Jones is live. We also have a couple other people down there trying to get some information, but if you guys have any questions, you can put them in chat. I'm going to actually hook up the Ethernet real quick.
Is there any chance we go on extended coverage?
I don't think so at this point.
Unless we're waiting for, like, Koval to talk or something, but it sounds like he's going to talk in 5 minutes. We may have him off the top if I can get our signal up and going.
Okay. So right now we're just kind of getting ready for the...
Stand by, folks. Stand by.
Is that her connection? That's...
Looks like it.
I've got Channel 3 up on my TV right now. Blue Bloods is still going, so they're not gonna. There's still a couple minutes yet.
Maybe that'll give Michelle time to reload before they go on air 100%. What in the world? It's almost like the Ethernet made her freeze up.
You know more about this stuff than I do.
Go ahead and hide the broadcast for the newsroom. Or is someone coming back to the newsroom? Sorry, Mr. Hands in Pockets. You're being hidden. Well,
Uh-oh.
we'll be able to get the feed up when the news starts. Okay. Technical difficulties, folks.
And she probably can't really do much because, I mean, literally the Blue Bloods credits are right now.
The incident itself seemed to be very quick. A state lawmaker shares a first-hand account of an officer-involved shooting that shut down a busy Madison street. We are following a breaking story out of Willy Street tonight. Police are blocking off a section of William Street tonight. News 3 has learned there were reports of shots fired in the 1100 block there. The road is blocked between Few and Ingersoll.
News 3's Valina Jones is live at the scene, and she joins us with the very latest developments. Valina?
That's right, Eric and Michelle. Those shots fired were reported around 6:30. Witnesses here tell me that they believe a 19-year-old black unarmed man was shot by an officer. right here on Willy Street. The crowd has been growing over the past couple of hours. Members from the Young Black and Gifted Coalition are forming a line out here demanding justice. The crowd, though the shooting happened several hours ago, police here on scene have not spoken to the public. Right now, again, the scene is still very active. There's over 10 police squad cars. The Wisconsin Professional Police Association posted that its field and legal staff are on scene investigating an officer-involved shooting here in Madison. Representative Chris Taylor was across the street at the Spirit gas station from where the shooting allegedly occurred.
Obviously, we've had our share of tragedies in this community. So, you know, it's a scary thing, obviously, when you're in a situation like that, which I never expected to be in tonight, I have to say.
Within the last hour, Mayor Soglin has arrived on scene talking to members of the public, but he too is waiting for answers.
Well, it's an enormous tragedy. The life of a young man is of the greatest concern. We've got a family that's really hurting, and a neighborhood. Right now, it's very difficult because of the nature of the investigative process. I can't even get any information from the Madison Police Department because they're not allowed under the new laws to conduct the investigation.
And again, over the past couple of hours, the crowd here on Willy Street has grown tremendously. What started out as just a couple people has now grown into well over 20 and 30 people. Again, a lot of representation here from the Young Black and Gifted Coalition. They've been chanting throughout the evening that Black Lives Matter. Again, they believe that a 19-year-old black unarmed man was shot by a police officer. We're still waiting to get confirmed information from the police department at this time, Eric and Michelle.
All right, Valina, this obviously a very developing situation. We know, as you mentioned, the Young Gifted and Black Coalition is there. We can hear them chanting. Does it seem like it is still peaceful at this time? And, you know, can you describe what the crowd is like out there?
Right now it is peaceful, Michelle. Again, they've been chanting, but a lot of emotions out here. They're very passionate. They have been demanding justice right now. They said that this is something that they feared might happen in the city of Madison. And so right now the protest is peaceful, but they said they're going to be speaking up going forward.
I know we're moments away from possibly hearing from the chief down at the City County building. Valina, you spoke to Chris Taylor, who coincidentally helped pass legislation last year. Let's go down to the City County building right now because we understand we can hear from Chief Mike Koval.
Complainants as jumping in and out of traffic, dodging cars and the like. And subsequently, before we arrived, the call was updated by another complainant who had indicated that this same subject had been responsible for a battery that had been recently committed. On arrival, the officer, the first responding unit, was called to the apartment where the subject had gone into. He heard sounds of what sounded like a disturbance coming from within the home, and it was at that juncture that he forced entry. Once inside the home, the subject involved in this incident, the same one that had been allegedly out in traffic and had battered someone, this same subject then assaulted my officer, and in the context of mutual combat in that sense, the officer did draw his revolver and subsequently shot the subject. Immediately thereafter, the officer began immediately to render aid by providing CPR and was subsequently joined by backups who also carried on that struggle. Subject was subsequently conveyed to a local area hospital where he did succumb to his gunshot wounds and is deceased. Obviously, at this point in time, it would be inappropriate for the police department to take on the purview of the role of the medical examiner, who has the duty of notifying next of kin in a matter like this. Obviously, in light of the fact that we are completely bound by state law, which indicates that an independent oversight and investigation should be conducted outside of the Madison Police Department. We respected that from the moment we took the scene, froze the scene, and waited for the Department of Criminal Investigation to arrive. The Department of Criminal Investigation is the point of investigation. This is completely their oversight. We will only supplement their needs as they request it, and certainly we will not have any sense of an instrumental role in this. In light of so much things that have happened, not just across this country, but in our own community, it's understandable that the reaction at the scene amidst some of our citizens is extremely volatile, emotional, and upsetting, and we understand that. That's absolutely appropriate under the circumstances. We would urge, obviously, that everybody exercise restraint and some calm. Let us allow the Department of Criminal Investigation to conduct their affairs, and we will all await then that what their investigative fact findings should reflect. Witnesses have been contacted. They will be subsequently interviewed by DCI, and I suspect that DCI will also do canvassing of neighbors and others who may have seen part or parts of the incident. And that's pretty much the sum total of what I can provide you now, given the fact that it is in the hands of DCI, and I do not want to usurp their authority.
As far as what happened with your officer, can you say anything about any weapons used by the subject or anything like that?
At this point, it is unknown what, if anything, he had in terms of instrumentalities. The initial findings at the scene did not reflect a gun or anything of that nature that would have been used by the subject. No.
Did your officer sustain any injuries?
Well, he was knocked down as a result of the blow to his head, but beyond that, he will be treated and ultimately released.
So he's at a hospital right now?
He is, yes.
Standard procedure?
Well, standard procedure insofar as part of the protocols, obviously, is that there will be a blood draw administered at the direction of DCI, and at that point, at some point, obviously, that will be all obviously analyzed to ensure that absolute sobriety and no drugs in the officer's bloodstream.
Can you say anything about age, race of the subject?
It appears he's a young African-American male of 19 years of age.
How many times was he shot?
I couldn't say that at this point because I don't know.
The situation was volatile, and understandably so. As the chief and overseeing, obviously looking out for your officer, are you worried about the response interfering with the investigation in any way?
No, I believe at the end of the day we will have a secure crime scene, and I think as people come to realize that it's not the Madison Police Department's investigation, it's the Department of Criminal Investigation, and to that extent I hope that people will understand and give them plenty of room to work with as much opportunity for them to move freely and about without them being subjected to, anything else or harassment.
I see that you were meeting with Michael Johnson, with Boys and Girls Club. I don't know if he wants to answer any questions or if you can talk about, what your discussion with him entails.
Well, I'll let Michael speak for himself, but I will say that going back to when I first became chief, Michael has been a friend and a confidant, and he understands the pain that communities can endure all too well, having done a lot of work in urban settings and was on the front lines of Ferguson. So in his capacity at mending fences, creating trust bridges, he's been a resource to me as a community stakeholder, and I hope it will be in the future. So let you figure out what.
That is Madison Chief of Police Mike Koval talking to reporters down at the City County building tonight, recapping what happened. This is in the 1100 block of Williamson Street early this evening. As Mike Koval recounted the story, a gentleman, 19 years of old, African-American male, jumping in and out of traffic, according to the chief, then went into a residence there. Officers responded to the scene. They also said that this gentleman had been involved in a battery. after the officer forced entry into that residence in the 1100 block of Willy Street. A fight between the officer and the subject ensued. The officer struck in the head, according to the chief, knocked down, pulled his weapon, fired, and hit the subject, who later was pronounced dead at an area hospital.
And what we know now, we know that the Department of Criminal Investigation will take over this investigation. The Madison Police Department will be assisting them, but the Department of Criminal Investigation will have oversight of this investigation because of a new law that was recently passed within the last year. But as Chief Koval said, this is extremely emotional, volatile, and upsetting for the community, and he's asking people to exercise restraint and caution down in Willy Street, and that is where we pick up now with Valina Jones, who has been reporting the story since it started from the beginning tonight. And Valina, can you give us another recap of what you are seeing down there with the crowds and with the investigation?
Yeah, definitely, Michelle. Again, the crowd is continuing to grow here on Willy Street. The Young Black and Gifted Coalition representation have made a call out to the public to come down here and support them. They've been chanting Black Lives Matter throughout the night. The crowd has grown considerably since those reported shots were heard at 6:30. Since then, the crowd has grown about 30 to 40 people right now, Michelle. Again, they are demanding justice for, again, the 19-year-old that was shot here on Willy Street.
Earlier, Valina, this evening you spoke with Representative Chris Taylor. We heard from her a moment ago. She helped pass legislation last year that basically controls investigations into officer-involved shootings, which the DCI is now in charge. Recount for us, if you can, what Representative Taylor told you as she got to the scene, because not only was she involved in this legislation, she's the representative for that neighborhood, and she was an eyewitness, correct?
Yeah, definitely. And so when we talked to Mayor Soglin again, he said, you know, with that pass of the legislation, it's been hard to get information because now the Department of Corrections needs to come in here and investigate that situation. So until we had heard from Chief Koval, there was little information known at this time. And so now that that information has been verified, again, this crowd continues to grow out here on Willy Street, Eric.
Valina, I'm not sure if you and your photographer can maybe show us a vantage point of this scene there, but I'd like to know if police are able to interact with the crowd or if they are choosing to do so at this time, but if maybe we can get a better look at the crowd there.
Yeah, police have not really been involved with the crowd so far, but as the time has passed, the crowd has really kind of tried to push into the perimeter of where police have this investigation blocked off right now. And so as time progresses, they're getting closer and closer to those barricades. And police right now are making a line formation to make sure that these people out here that are demanding justice do not cross that barricade right now. So far, it has been peaceful, but again, a lot of emotions down here, and so the scene so far is safe, but it continues to grow as time progresses.
And as we heard, Chief Mike Koval urging calm and peace tonight as the DCI moves in to do their part of the investigation. Valina Jones live on Williamson Street. Valina, thank you very much.
And of course, stay with News 3 and Channel3000.com. As we continue to follow this breaking story, we will also continue to bring coverage of this throughout this newscast. We'll be right back.
This is News 3 at 10.
By all the...
Alrighty.
Hi, you guys.
Hey, Michelle.
So, did you guys have any questions out of that by watching what you saw with Valina and her being on the scene there?
Yeah. Is the public in danger? Because I'm scared to leave. That's on my side of town. I mean, that's minutes away from where I live. And
where do you live?
I live on the east side. I live just down, I'm in between Milwaukee Street and Cottage Grove Road, but Willy Street's just a very short drive from my house.
I was actually looking at it on a Google map, and this scene is about 500 yards from where Paul Heenan was shot and killed by Officer Stephen Heinzman in November of 2012.
Right.
So obviously, the folks in that neighborhood, this is really going to hit home.
Yeah.
The second
and
time in.
It's not far from Willy Street Co-op, so I know exactly where that is. I've been there plenty of times, and it's weird that it's happening in the Willy Street neighborhood. I mean, you just don't think of stuff happening there.
2 stories, 1 tossed about.
Sorry, Melissa, hold on. What are the 2 stories? Sorry.
West Town Mall. So it'll be in fact.
Oh, okay.
Can we flip back over to prompter? We got 2 stories.
Hold on, Melissa.
Is anybody for us tweeting what Koval said? I'm not. Maybe it's farther down my feed. Oh, yeah, Danica.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I should just go back to watching Top Gun. That'll make me happy.
I don't blame you there.
Hey, sorry about the camera.
It's not letting me hide the newsroom.
Maybe she's going to have me read just alternate.
I'm trying to hide the newsroom.
It's no big deal.
Hello, newsroom.
I should have just kept going through. You know, I don't live very far
Anybody
from
said anything on YouTube?
I don't want to thank Ferguson, but man.
No, don't think Ferguson.
I will say there have already been comparisons, you know, to like
by
the Young Gifted and Black Coalition.
Or is this anything to do with the shooting at Westtown either?
Okay. Did you hear that, Art?
What's that?
We're going to on the 3-shot. Okay,
first, we got 2 stories.
Yeah.
So you're right. Arrests coming in a different shooting from last weekend.
3 people in custody, and Madison's police chief says gang violence spurred those incidents. He says 17-year-old Jacob Greer, 21-year-old Jamal Greer, and 23-year-old Jeffrey Mitchell, all arrested in connection with the Westtown Mall shooting and all associated with gangs. Jeffrey Mitchell was also charged in connection with a shooting on Russet Road that took place just a couple hours later. He is facing attempt of first-degree homicide along with other counts. All 3 arrested range in age from just 17 to 23.
When you have people this young getting involved in this kind of activity, I think everybody in government, social service agencies, and in fact looking at what's going on in our own families has to take this as a sobering moment to understand that this is not isolated and more should and could be done.
Police are still investigating whether a 3rd shots fired incident on Chelsea Street that same night is in connection to the other 2 shootings. A few blocks south of the mall, a man taken into custody after firing off a gun in his home while police were inside. Officers got out of the home on Gammon Lane early this morning. Eventually, the 31-year-old came outside with a handgun. Negotiators got him to drop that gun. Tommy Evans was taken into custody on a parole violation. Police say he recently got out of prison. He's expected to face several other charges.
All right, turning now to our forecast, and Bob Lesh monitoring a warm-up that's coming our way, and already at this time of day, it's a little warmer than what we've seen at this time in recent days.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we dropped down near 0 last night. We didn't quite make it there, which is lucky for us because we escaped one more day of below 0 numbers. But as you can see, we've got clouds that are currently moving across the area. So although we saw a lot of sunshine today, we are now seeing a few more clouds, and that's actually a good thing for the overnight period because it'll tend to keep our lows up quite a bit. I mentioned we almost got down to 0. Well, it was 1, so we were very close. 29 for the high today, so that's still awfully shy of our normal high. High temperatures around the rest of the area got into the mid-30s as you move out to the west, but mainly in the 20s from Madison to the east. Those temperatures will continue to rise as we head into tomorrow. Currently, we're still at 26, so I mentioned those temperatures are going to be holding pretty steady overnight. They should remain mainly in the 20s. Wind speeds are much lighter now than they were, but they're still out of the southwest, and so that will continue to bring in some warmer air. Couple that with the clouds, and you can see that we're not going to see a big drop in temperature, and you can also see that we are quite a bit warmer right now than we were at this time yesterday. 20 degrees warmer in Madison, and on the order of 20 degrees across the rest of the area as well. In fact, a little bit warmer out to the west. They're 30 degrees warmer now than they were at this time yesterday. yesterday. Weather track currently showing those clouds moving through. There's another batch of clouds just to the west of that will also come in tonight. We will have a slight chance of a few flurries, although most of that will stay well to our north, as you'll see here on the future track. All of that flurry activity coming through northern Wisconsin. We'll just have a chance of a stray snowflake or two. The same will hold true for Sunday as another very weak wave comes through. Temperatures will be roughly the same in the mid to upper 30s, and we'll see that very slight chance of a few flurries. Now, we're talking about much warmer temperatures next week. Well, we haven't hit 40 since January 18th. That's 37 days ago. We haven't hit 50 since November 23rd of last year. That's 103 days. Both of those streaks, though, are very likely to end next week. 22 degrees then for the overnight low. We'll see a lot of cloud cover, but eventually we'll also see some sunshine tomorrow, and those temperatures will respond nicely to that. We'll be at 37 degrees for the high there. Also, remember to set your clocks ahead 1 hour, spring ahead on Saturday night. Then we get to the big warm-up, 41 on Monday, and then we are going to see temperatures into the 50s by Wednesday and continuing there through the end of the work week. And we'll be right back.
It's the Home Show sale at Fireside Hearth & Home. Heat up your home and...
Well, it's good that y'all are getting some warm weather.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was telling myself.
We got 5 inches of snow in Dallas on Wednesday night. I posted about it on Facebook. We're thrilled over 5 inches of snow, and everybody up north collectively rolls their eyes at our glee.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Y'all probably got over building snowmen a long time ago.
Yeah, I was telling myself tonight, I'm like, I need to remember this date for this summer when it's like 90 billion degrees. And I'm like, remember what it was like over the winter? Just a few months ago, you were complaining about how cold you were. Not complaining about the heat now.
So we're starting out on
At our local...
firefighters. Okay. That's you.
What? We have weather or news anchors that complain about the weather no matter what it is. Like, it's too warm, it's too cold, it's too rainy.
Yeah.
It's too dry. When's the rain coming?
Do you have an idea what she said?
I would love to see. My ideal would probably be to live in Seattle, like 70s days, 50s at night. That's it. No need for the furnace, no need for an AC.
I think ideal any weather anywhere year-round is a myth.
Hey, you guys. Melissa, is your husband working in Verona tonight?
Yep. Yep. Sure is.
He doesn't go through Willy Street, though, to go home, does he? I mean,
No. He takes the Beltline back and forth.
Boy. We're probably going to go out to Valina one more time. It was really interesting. Chris Taylor, the representative who was a witness. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
Okay, hold on.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
New at 10, Madison firefighters honoring one of their own who passed away last weekend.
If you can't have fun, stay home! If you can't have fun, stay home! We love you, brother!
Firefighters leading a procession through Madison's west side. Richard Lindauer died at the age of 77. He was known for being one of Santa's helpers at American Family Children's Hospital. He spread cheer for more than 50 years to young patients. Known as Lindy, he spent 35 years with the Madison Fire Department.
A dramatic fire is burning itself out in Galena tonight. A train derailed yesterday carrying more than 100 cars filled with crude oil. The NSF, the railroad company, was going door to door to nearby residents. Authorities are conducting air and water tests there. In the meantime, one of those residents left their home over worries that the area was not safe.
If they're concerned enough that they're telling people that the toxicity of the fumes are making normal people have to leave, I just worry about what it's going to do to the baby.
Railroad crews said they put up booms and temporary dams immediately after the derailment. That was to keep oil from leaking into the Mississippi River. The EPA says right now they're not able to determine if the oil is actually seeping into the ground.
Madison Memorial boys hockey trying to get back to the state final for the first time in 15 years. Highlights next in sports.
During the 70th anniversary sale at Ashley Furniture Home Store.
So we're cutting back to, what's her name, Marlena?
Valina.
Valina.
Yeah,
See, I've never seen her before, so, okay, Valina.
Mm-hmm. She usually does a lot of stuff in Rock County, which is south of here.
Yeah. Actually, I think I had seen her before. We don't have any comments on YouTube yet. We have 8 people watching this, though.
Oh. Oh, you're in Dallas, Texas. Why did I think you were in California?
California?
My best friend lives in Dallas.
Okay, sorry,
You
but
had me
we're going to go ahead
confused with...
We're going to go ahead and sports, and then we're going to have another live look out at the scene. The CEO of the Boys and Girls Club, Michael Johnson, we might be hearing from him at the end of the newscast. He's calling for calm tonight, so just FYI. But we're going to take another live look probably in 5 minutes or so.
Can I get a sports rundown?
You can just run sports. It's fine.
It's all local.
Okay.
It's all local. I have to concentrate on a couple of things, so you guys go ahead and do your thing.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Are we just ad-libbing the end here, probably?
Yeah, Melissa, you thought that I was from California because of Anthony. Anthony's from California.
No.
What'd you say?
I was talking to Melissa.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay.
We need to get Teresa in here. Teresa lives on the east side of Madison.
Does she?
Yeah. Mhm.
What happened to Michael Brown?
Nick, can you get Teresa in here?
I can ask her if she wants to come in,
Okay.
if she's around.
If it's somebody,
I think she might be out clubbing, though.
You're on. If you can take away your weapon. Yeah. If the officer draws his weapon, they're trained to shoot.
Oh, I don't have Teresa added on Facebook.
Every time I've ever done.
Do you know her last name?
Ryan.
Yeah.
R-E-U-N-D. She's got the same last name as the Sun Prairie mayor.
Oh, she gets a new job.
Madison Memorial hasn't gone to the state final since 2000. That year they beat Wausau West to win a state championship. Tonight Memorial played in the state semis, standing in their way of a state final. Naturally, Wausau West. To the Coliseum we go for the semis. First period, Warriors on the attack after a nice save by Ryan Kenny. Sheldon Oha with the rebound and the score to make it 1-0 Warriors. Later in the first, more West. This time Andrew Lee on the rebound again. Makes it 2-0. West adds another in the second to make it 3-0. In the third, it's 3-1. Corey Dennis, nice deke, and he scores to make it 3-2, but Memorial will get no closer. Wausau West wins 6-3. High school wrestling season comes to an end this weekend with Team State at the UW Fieldhouse. Local teams in Division I in action today. Sauk Prairie and Stoughton in the D1 quarters. 220-pounders. Gage Newmeyer in control, gets the pin on Josiah Nelson, and Sauk is feeling good. But hold the phone. 106's Brandon Klein scores a quick 2. He wins an 11-1 major decision. Stoughton edges Sauk Prairie 36-30. Stoughton also beat Wisconsin Rapids in the semis, so the Vikings taking on Kaukauna tomorrow in the state finals. That match begins at 3 o'clock. Boys regional semifinals in boys hoops at Middleton. The Cardinals hosting La Follette. First quarter, Andrew Gardner, the spin and the score to put Middleton on the board. A little bit later, Tyree Eady attacking the rim, soaring, and bangs it off the window. Middleton leads. La Follette's Elias Soba gave the Lancers a spark in the first. He hits a three here, but Middleton goes on to win 63-44. That's it for sports. We'll be right back.
Buy all the room basics at one low price at Slumberland, and then...
And they used to be. So 6 people watching on YouTube, how are you doing? How do you feel about the news stories that have been discussed tonight?
Anyone? Anyone?
Anybody out there?
The scariest part about this is that it is nighttime. You know, there's just it's a scarier thing, I think, when it's...
Oh, it's back. 1 second, hold that thought.
Side, Madison Police Chief Mike Koval confirming that police shot and killed a 19-year-old African-American male in that 1100 block of Williamson Street tonight after an altercation between the officer and the individual who was shot. Protesters now at the scene there, and a calm scene so far. Chief Koval urging calm, as did the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, Michael Johnson.
I'm concerned about the young man and his family. I'm concerned about all of our kids in this community. And I do think people have the right to be emotional when these kinds of incidents happen. And when a young man loses life and you begin to continue to see these kind of issues play out, there will be an emotional response. And so I just hope that calmer heads prevail, and that people listen to one another, and that's what I'm hoping that's going to happen.
Again, that was Michael Johnson, the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club, asking for calm tonight, along with Police Chief Mike Koval. But again, you are taking a live look now at the scene on Willy Street, where a crowd is growing after an officer-involved shooting where a 19-year-old is dead tonight.
Due to new state law, the Department of Criminal Investigations will now handle all aspects of this officer-involved shooting. Of course, News 3 will stay with it for the very latest with the crew at the scene. And we'll bring you the very latest as developments continue to emerge in this story.
We've had a lot of eyewitness accounts tonight. We've heard from Representative Chris Taylor. We've heard from the Chief of Police, and also from the Boys and Girls CEO, Michael Johnson. Of course, we will stay on this story, and you can follow us on channel3000.com. Good night.
Hi, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and take us off the air now, okay? But I will be back in the newsroom to answer questions. So, and we might actually start another hangout soon, but we need to kind of regroup here in the newsroom. So I'm going to take us off YouTube, okay? But you can stay in this hangout if you want.
Okay.